We bring in now national security and military analyst Dr. Rebecca Grant. She is also vice president at the Lexington Institute. Trey just set us up nicely. Really, there's quite a scene unfolding right now. A huge amount of assets being moved there to the Middle East. The Ayatollah talking about a regional war unfolding potentially if President Trump strikes. But the president says that they are talking. They are talking with us. Your thoughts, what do you make of this as all of these things are playing out?
So Iran is playing games about allowing nuclear inspections. But at this point, Iran is taking a really big risk because Trump's armada ensures that Iran basically has no military options left. And make no mistake, President Trump is ready for action. If they go, we know there's a pre-briefed target set. It's probably ballistic missile sites, maybe leadership targets. But right now, it is the pressure on Iran to agree to negotiations, which is what President Trump says he wants to do.
Yeah. One of the things that was highlighted in our reporting there just a moment ago was this fleet that has moved to the area is even bigger than Venezuela. We know the USS Abraham Lincoln is there. But there's also this Wall Street Journal headline from today saying, before any strike on Iran, U.S. needs to bolster air defenses in the Mideast. The Pentagon is taking steps to protect Israel, Arab allies, and American forces if Iran retaliates. How big of a concern is a potential retaliation if the president decides to strike and does?
Right. Well, the air defenses are a top concern. I'm glad because you can see on this map, those assets are already in place. This is a massive amount of sea-based air and missile defense. There's also land-based missile defense too. But you're looking at destroyers in the Eastern Med ready to do a nose-on shot against Iranian missiles or drones. Destroyers down in the Persian Gulf, more destroyers, and the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln over there in the NAG, the North Arabian Gulf. Incredible. This is like a golden dome of missile defense over our U.S. forces in the Middle East. Also in there, strike options if needed. F-35s, the stealth fighters on the carrier, are great at taking out cruise missiles. There is more land-based U.S. air power throughout that region as well. So President Trump has done the number one thing, and that is make sure that our, about 40,000 U.S. forces there are very well protected. And this is why Iran really has no military options.
Yeah, thank you for the answer to that question. I also want to get your take on something that General Jack Keane said. This was his analysis earlier today. Take a listen.
There is an historic opportunity here to set the conditions through a military strike that puts the regime on the pathway to collapse. The Israelis recognize this, and this is why there's so much delay taking place to bring in robust resources to do something that's decisive. It's not going to be like an invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, or Haiti, or Panama, where there are ground troops on. It's right here in front of us.
Your thoughts on what the general had to say there?
Well, General Keane is very wise in two things. One, we know that the Israeli Defense Force chief was here, no doubt sharing some up-to-date intelligence. And what General Keane is saying is that one thing that will really hurt Iran is to continue to take out more of that ballistic missile space launch capability. They've still got a lot of those sites. And so if it comes to it, that type of strike would indeed really weaken the regime, the Ayatollah, the IRGC, and that whole bad crowd.
And I just want to get your thoughts. Where are you leaning right now? Do you think it's more likely that diplomacy will win out, or that there could ultimately be more likely that there's a strike?
Well, I tell you, the president of Egypt, Qatar's prime minister, the Turks, they're all calling Iran and saying, look, you better negotiate. But Iran always says they'll talk. But what we've seen in the past, Operation Midnight Hammer showed us, is that it often takes military action where Iran is concerned.
Dr. Rebecca Grant, thank you very much. We appreciate your analysis. Wonderful to have you on with us this weekend.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.